I've been told the people who hoard often have a psychological description of sick, which is sensitive, intelligent, creative, and kind. That those are the people that tend to hoard because they are sentimental, they're creative, they see use in anything. They put too much importance and sentimental value on things, so they can't get rid of them.
Collecting is an art and a passion. It's rooted in a love of something. Someplace in history, or in your own life, maybe even just a vague memory. And if at least it begins there, it takes on a life of its own. Take for example former Buffalo employee Kristin Roth. The 1958 Ford pickup truck she was brought home from the hospital in is parked out in front of her house. It doesn't run, but it's there. She also has her first tricycle and her first chair. She comes from a long line of organized hoarders, as she puts it. Collecting is in her blood. Her grandfather collected carved elephants, over 65 of them, which her mother still has. Whether it's her collection of 1950 sunglasses she started in the 80s, the Beehive vintage purse she bought at a thrift store for 95 cents back in 1988, the vintage Levi's denim jacket from the 40s, which she bought at Buffalo Exchange, or her immense collection of Bakelite accessories. History is always with her. Kristin grew up in Portal, Arizona, next to an old dumping ground. As a child, she loved rusty old metal and the smell of dirt. Her collection of vintage sprinklers probably comes from those days of rummaging around the desert, looking for rusted tins and pulling up roots to smell moist, musty earth. Another of her interests, also related to metal, is of medieval knights and armor. She loves stories of Camelot, Excalibur, and fairy tales. Kristin said, "I've always wanted to be a knight, or thought in a different life I want to be a knight." Chainmail is a particular interest to her, which helped inspire a collection of mesh metal purses. And to connect it to her deep personal sense of history, one of her favorites is a Whiting and Davis mesh bag that her grandfather gave her grandmother in 1930. Kristin loves the hunt, which is a prerequisite to being a true collector.
86, 87-ish, I started going to yard sales and estate sales. And I have the first piece of Bakelite that my friend Rosemary Cosgrove gave me. And it's just this little dress clip. And I was like, I love this. What's this cool green plasticky stuff? And I showed it to a friend of mine I was working at Aardvarks with, David Hoffman, and he said, oh, I think that's Bakelite. And he had this really cool kind of apricot colored carved bar pin, and he showed it to me, and he's like, this is Bakelite. And then he was thrifting a lot and started buying me some, and then I started finding it, you know, just thrift stores, yard sales. The polka dotted one that I have that is one of the more pricey, $5 at a yard sale on Kill.
Kristin loves dressing up in vintage clothes. She says it's like playing different characters. Each item tells a story. She often wonders how many souls have touched each piece she collects, and she truly enjoys the energy and spirit of her items. With such a large and varied collection, we asked her if she was finished. She said she wanted one more big red carved Bakelite bangle, and a green one. Then maybe her collection of Bakelite bangles would be complete. Perhaps.